Hello, my name is Matthias and welcome to the FPL Scope and the weekly Wildcard draft for Game Week 32. Game Week 31 just finished. I just watched Man United against Chelsea and it was absolutely crazy game with Palmer scoring 2 goals right at the end there to give Chelsea the win, and Palmer 20 points in FPL, matching that of Phil Foden. And those guys are going to be featured in the Wildcard draft. That's a bit of a spoiler, but not really surprising considering they're in such good form. But yeah, if you're not familiar with the weekly wildcard draft series, it's basically something that I do every single week on this channel, where I wildcard what I think is the best squad to have in Fantasy Premier League going forward in the next 4 to 5 game weeks, or at this point of the season, the rest of the season basically. And it is done in the style of an NBA or NFL type of draft, where the number 1 pick is the most important player to have currently in FPL, and the 15th player in the squad, the 15th pick, is going to be the player that I'm the most unsure about having in my squad currently. So let's just go straight into it. I don't have too much time. I'm going to go to bed after recording this. I'm going to go to work tomorrow. So yeah, let's just get started with the number 1 pick. And like I mentioned, Cole Palmer, pretty self-explanatory there with how good he is currently, getting penalties left and right as well. 2 penalties in this game against Man United, which is kind of lucky, but at the same time, he's the penalty taker. They've been getting penalties all season long. Seems like there's something about the tactic or something that makes them more susceptible to get penalties or something like that. But Cole Palmer keeps scoring them. He keeps scoring from open play as well, like he did in the final goal today or tonight, which was yesterday when you were watching this, because I'm releasing this on Friday. But either way, Palmer is just absolutely amazing. The best valued player in FPL history, maybe. He's just absolutely amazing. 16 goals I think he has now in the Premier League. And he didn't even start the season properly as a starter for Chelsea, but he's just been an amazing player. And for the value that he provides, he's number 1. And yeah, my graphic is a bit changed since last time. That's actually sort of a mistake because I kind of deleted the slide that I had, so I just had to make it again. And I figured number 1 pick should be standing on its own rather than the 15th pick standing on its own. So Palmer, number 1 pick last week, number 1 pick this week. Probably going to be the number 1 pick for the rest of the season as well. Number 2, Phil Foden. I did mention him as well, and he's also someone that is going to be super important to have in Premier League, Fantasy Premier League going forward. I didn't have him in the wildcard squad last time around, actually, which was kind of a mistake. I have to admit that, because yeah, he scored a hat-trick, but at the same time, didn't really expect him to be the focal point of City's attack with Haaland and De Bruyne being out, and him scoring 3 goals against Aston Villa. I think that was kind of crazy to see that. But at the same time, Foden has shown that quality all season. He scored a hat-trick against Brentford as well. We know he has that in him. And now he has really, really good matches for the end of the season as well. I think Man City are the main team to target now with the fixtures that they have. Foden, we're going to get to some other City players that you could potentially have as well later on in this draft. But Foden should have been in the draft last week. But I've corrected my mistake and I made him the number 2 pick even. Because I think he's a pretty important player to have currently. Because yeah, he's just providing the goods quite a lot of the time, Phil Foden. So he's in at number 2. Number 3, we have Alexander Isak, another super informed player. Luckily, I had him the last 2 game weeks actually in my week wildcard draft, and he's provided points both times. He scored twice against West Ham and scored 1 goal now in this past game week. So he's in super fine form, has really, really good matches as well for Newcastle. And they have double game weeks coming up in game week 37 as well. So Isak, all the reason to jump on this bandwagon, even if you're not on this tactic that I am with this wildcard draft, which would be free hit gaming 34. Even if you are not free hitting in 34, Isak is still going to be a terrific value player because yeah, he's absolutely fantastic and can score in any game. He's the starting striker for Newcastle currently, and it's not looking to change anytime soon, especially with the form that he's in. He's just absolutely amazing. He's one of the best strikers in the league, one of the best players in the league, full stop, I think, top 15 maybe, I don't know. But he's absolutely fantastic, and you should have him in your FPL team, almost regardless of your tactic. Basically, I think Isak is a really important player to have currently in FPL. Number 4, we have Heung-min Son. He still keeps his place in the drafts. He's dropped down a little bit since last time he did blank, but at the same time, Nottingham Forest at home in his next upcoming game. I think that's a really good game for him. Newcastle away, it's also a fantastic game for him. I think Newcastle are really weak defensively, and that could benefit Son in that game as well. He does blank in Game Week 34, so obviously this is with Game Week 34 free hit in mind. If you don't have free hits left, then yes, you could leave Son out, but at the same time, I think Son is one of those guys who easily could be the next guy to get a hat-trick. He could easily do that against Nottingham Forest or against Newcastle or against both for that matter, because Son is a really explosive player. He's also on penalties obviously for Spurs, even though they don't get nearly as many penalties as Chelsea do, but he's still the penalty taker. whenever they get those penalties. And he's just a lethal player in general as well. And yes, he's a bit pricey, 9.9, I think, or 10 point something. I think it is 9.9 value in my team. But yeah, I think that's not a good reason to keep him. If you've had him for a long time, you can just free hit him out in Gaming 34 and then get him back again after that. And you can even bench him in Gaming 34 if you're free like me and you have already used your free hits. And you're saving your wildcard for Gaming 35. But obviously, if you're wildcarding now with this draft, wildcard Gaming 32, which is the reason that I made this video, basically, because it's a wildcard draft, you don't have the opportunity to wildcard in Gaming 35. So if that's the case, maybe, and if you don't have a free hit and you're wildcarding now, maybe you don't want to go with Son, but I think for the next 2 games, it's just too important to have. So yeah, he comes in at number 4. Number 5, Ryan Ait-Nouri, playing super attackingly now. He's playing basically as a left winger for Wolves, and he keeps getting huge chances and keeps scoring goals now as well. Scored from a set piece of all things, from a header. He's just unstoppable at the moment, super attacking, playing for a really fun Wolverhampton side, and he keeps getting huge chances and is involved in play all the time. Looking at his fixtures as well, terrific fixtures, especially if you're not free hitting in 34. He's going to be a must-own player, basically, and even if you are free hitting in 34, I think he's a really nice player to have against West Ham, Nottingham Forest, and Luton in the game weeks before and after Gaming 34 as well. So Ait-Nouri, super attacking. He's the best defender in the game currently, just getting points every single game week, it seems like. He's gotten me a lot of points since I brought him in Gaming 26. Really happy about Ait-Nouri, and I think all of you guys should jump on the bandwagon. Both him and Isak, to be fair, who are kind of not as template players as Palmer, Foden, and Son would be. But yeah, Ait-Nouri, definitely a great pick at number 5 in this draft. Number 6, we have Malo Gusto, and he had another kind of disappointing performance against Man United for Chelsea. Ended up with 0 points, got a yellow card, conceded twice, well 3 times actually, but twice, which gave him -1 extra, so that meant that he got 0 points against Man United. Another kind of disappointing performance, I guess, but at the same time, he was close to getting an assist for the first goal. It was his pass that led to the ball going to Gallagher, scoring the opening goal for Chelsea. But yeah, he's super attacking, and he plays for Chelsea, who have really good fixtures straight away, and they also have really nice fixtures with 2 double game weeks in Gaming 36 and Gaming 37 most likely. So yeah, Gusto for that reason, for the price that he is, and also for the fact that he's most likely going to be nailed for most of the season, it seems like now. Reece James, there's still doubts about him being able to play at all this season, and even if he is back, he's not going to be back for 60 plus minutes every single game. So Gusto's going to be pretty secure in his starts for Chelsea. Super attacking. Chelsea could potentially keep some clean sheets. It doesn't look likely currently, conceding 3 times against Man United, who created absolutely nothing against Brentford. So defensively, maybe not the best, but at the same time, Sheffield United and Everton, you can't really ask for much better fixtures in terms of keeping clean sheets either. So Gusto is a nice player at number 6. Number 7, we have Mohamed Salah. He has dropped down since last time. He was number 2 last time, and that was basically because I wanted to captain him against Sheffield United. That ended up with a 1-pointer after he was subbed off after 59 minutes, so kind of a fail on that one. But at the same time, he's facing Man United now, and I think he might even still be the best captain's option this week. I say that after he blanked and Palmer got 20 points and Palmer is Sheffield United. But yeah, I don't know. He's really good against Man United. Usually it's Salah, so I think you get turn it on against those guys. You saw Man United now concede 4 goals against Chelsea, so it could easily happen with Salah as well, scoring a couple goals against Man United basically. So yeah, after that he has Crystal Palace. If you're free hitting in 34, obviously you will probably get Salah regardless in that game week, so you don't really need him for the game weeks before and after, I guess. But he's just a really high value player, and yeah, I wouldn't want to get rid of him, especially seeing as we have so much money in the bank currently in this team. Regardless, the team value for most teams are pretty high. Most players are pretty cheap, especially with the likes of Palmer and stuff providing value for basically nothing. So I think you can afford Salah in your squad still for these next 2 matches, especially even if you are free hitting in 34. If you're not free hitting in 34, Salah is obviously still someone you should have him in your squad. 100% should bring him in if you don't have him already, if you don't have your free hitting in 34. So Salah, amazing pick. Maybe not as amazing as it was last week, seeing as he had a really promising game against Sheffield United and he didn't really perform in that game, but he's still a fantastic asset that is worth his price basically in FPL. So I still think he is a vital player to have in your squad in FPL at number 7. Number 8, we have Matheus Cunha. He's back now, fully fit. He came on in the last game against Burnley, and I was tempted to bring him in if he was ready to start against Burnley, but he wasn't, sadly. But now he's back. He has the same really, really good fixtures that Ait-Nouri has, and Cunha was in super good form before he got injured as well, scoring a hat-trick himself. and just being a really lethal player for Wolverhampton. I think that's going to continue. He most likely is, or not most likely, but he could potentially be on penalties as well. It's either him or Sarabia, and I think Sarabia has sort of been not the best lately, so apparently he might be dropped in some of these games. So I think Cunha could be a penalty taker for Wolves. They're really good fixtures, especially if you're not reading in 34. He is a really good option, really cheap price, 5.5 only, and he's been a super underrated asset this whole season. So he comes in at number 8 because I think he deserves a mention here or there, basically, when he is back fully fit now and has really good matches. So yeah, he comes in at number 8. Number 9, let's move on to that. That is going to be Erling Haaland still have him in the squad, and he's even gotten higher since last time, which is kind of crazy considering he was benched the whole game last time around. But that's the thing with City players. When they get benched, that's actually the best time to bring them in for the next game week. Most likely, if they are players like Haaland, for example, who are 100% going to start every single week, they're not going to drop Haaland from now on. He's going to play every single game now. Now he finally got his rest. He's going to play every game going forward. And if you look at his games, Crystal Palace away, Luton at home, Brighton away, Nottingham Forest away, he could easily get a lot of goals in those games. He hasn't been the best lately. Hasn't been the best. This season, he's still the top scorer in the Premier League. Like, it's kind of crazy, but we have such high standards for him since that opening season in FPL. We still have those high hopes for him. But I think it's definitely someone you should have in your squad currently. Whether you are wildcarding or not, whether you're free hitting in 34 or not, I think Haaland is going to provide the goods finally now for all those patient owners that have had him through this difficult stretch of games with Liverpool, Arsenal, blanked in both those games. He blanked in the blank game week, obviously, where he didn't play in game week 39. And he now also blanked this past game week because he didn't play in this past game for Man City, who still won without him quite easily. So, but either way, we know what he can bring to the table. Hold on, he's absolutely amazing when he is in form, and it's right around the corner. He usually gets a lot of chances. He usually converts a lot of chances. He's been a bit bad when it comes to converting chances this season, but he's still a fantastic pick with really good fixtures. Man City are just on a roll now. I think they're going to win almost every game from now until the end of the season, and it might still not be enough because they're still competing against Arsenal and Liverpool, who don't seem to lose as well. So yeah, I think Haaland is a terrific pick. Yes, he is a bit expensive, especially on top of having Salah and Son as well. Going to be pretty pricey, but with the likes of Cunha and the final midfielder as well that we're going to talk about in this Wildcard draft, you have enough money in the bank probably to have both Haaland and Salah, even with money to spare. I think I have 1.5 million left in the bank with this current Wildcard squad that I'm presenting to you, so you should be able to afford this, even though I have decent team value. I don't have like super team value, so I think 1.5 million in the bank for me means that most of you guys should be able to afford this team, even with Salah, Haaland, and Son in the team, which is kind of crazy. I think the pricing should go up next season for what it's worth. But yeah, Haaland, still an amazing pick. He could definitely punish those who have sold him and are not looking to bring him back, because yeah, he is still a vital part for Man City, and Man City are going to run roughshod over most of the teams that they are facing now in the Premier League. Number 10 pick, we have Gabriel Magalhaes. He is also another favorite of mine in this format, in the Wildcard draft format, basically, or in FPL, basically. He's been super good this whole season. Arsenal just seem to keep clean sheets every single game now. And Gabriel still has that goal threat attacking wise. So I think Gabriel is still a terrific pick, regardless of your tactic, whether you're free hitting or not, or you're wildcarding or not. I think he should be in most squads. I think you should keep him if you have him already. Most of you guys have him already, so that shouldn't be a problem for you. He's nailed, still relatively cheap for basically his stature, and plays for Arsenal, who again, kind of like Man City, are going to win most games and are going to keep clean sheets in most games. So Gabriel is still a terrific pick, and he comes in at number 10. But at the same time, if you're free hitting in 34 especially, and you don't need him for that game week because you can just free hit him in that game week, then I could see the reason why you would sell him and not have him in the squad. But still, this Wildcard draft is with free hit 34 in mind, and even still, I would still have Gabriel in the team. Still, I've said still several times now, so a couple more for the road, I guess. But yeah, Gabriel comes in at number 10. Number 11, we have Destiny Udogie, and he's kind of a more fixtures play. Spurs haven't been the best in terms of keeping clean sheets. Udogie hasn't really provided any attacking returns lately as well. He's been pretty close though. He's still super attacking, and it's right around the corner, I feel like. Another huge haul from him. I think Spurs in general are a team that on their day can get a lot of points, and Udogie is one of those guys who can get involved in attacking play and get goals and assists and potentially clean sheets as well. It's also more like a fixtures play for the end of the season. Obviously, with the free hit 34 in mind in this draft, you don't really have to worry about his blanking game week 34 because you can just free hit him out. And then in the latter half of the latter half of the season, I guess, after game week 34 and game week 35 onwards, he has 2 double game weeks coming up after that, or a triple game week if that's how it falls. And he's going to be a vital player for that. So yeah, he's just one for the future. Really nice player to have. And also in the immediate term against Nottingham Forest at home, really good fixture. It's going to be a tough decision who to bench for this game week. You could potentially bench Gabriel, even though he plays Brighton, which is not the best team. But Udogie, he's still really good value, still pretty cheap, still pretty attacking, and plays for a team that is supposed to be really good. So yeah, Udogie comes in at number 11. Number 12, we have Andre Onana. Hasn't had the best of luck lately. He's conceded 4 times now against Chelsea. Wasn't even close to saving the 2 penalties either, but he's still the highest scoring goalkeeper in the game, and he still has some of the best fixtures available in Fantasy Premier League currently. So yeah, for that reason, he is the number 1 goalkeeper choice for me currently, just because of his double game week and also his good game weeks or good fixtures regardless of that. And he's just a high-scoring player. He's going to get some saves. He's going to get some clean sheets here and there. Sometimes Man United decide to keep clean sheets. It happens from time to time. And Onana has been reaping the rewards of that several times this season. And that's why he's the highest scoring goalkeeper so far this season. But yeah, it's just basically the fixtures and the fact that he just keeps getting points somehow, even though Man United have been pretty poor defensively this season. You probably don't want to start him against Liverpool, but that's no worry because you have another goalkeeper for that game, and that is David Raya. He can play against Brighton away. He's also a really nice player to have as your backup goalkeeper. Obviously, in game 34, if you're free hitting, he's still a good option there. If you're not free hitting, he's still a good option there as well. And I think, just like Gabriel, I think Raya is just a nice placeholder player to have, just in case of an emergency. If you have other players that you need to sell and you just need reliable players that you can have for those game weeks, even if they don't play a double game week, I think Raya and Gabriel are really nice options to have just as a backup basically, or you can sell them closer to game week 37 to get as many double game week players as you can for those game weeks or for that game week. So yeah, for now I think Raya is a decent pick, but he's the number 13 pick for a reason because I'm not 100% sure about any of the goalkeepers really. Don't think any standout goalkeepers exists in FPL this season, so Onana and Raya is the best combination for me currently, I think, but that could always change, so that's why they are pretty low in the weekly wildcard draft. Number 14, we have Jared Branthwaite, and he has really good fixtures in general. So yes, even if you're free hitting in 34, he has fantastic fixtures, has several really good home games. I think he has Sheffield United and Luton on top of these games as well. Apart from gaming 32, 33, 34, and 35, as you can see here pictured on the screen. But he has just terrific fixtures, and he's been a really reliable player this season, getting some attacking returns here and there as well, and being just really good for Everton as their defense has been keeping quite a lot of clean sheets this season as well. Lately, they haven't been the best, but that's mostly due to the tough matches that they've had, I think. Now that they're going to get easier matches, he's going to get more and more clean sheets, so he's another really good option to have just as a backup, just in case you need him, basically. He's super cheap and plays for a team that has kept a lot of clean sheets this season, so I think it's really good value for a final defender in your team, basically. And then the final guy is number 15, Alejandro Garnacho, who scored 2 goals against Chelsea, had another huge haul, and finally I was on the good end of that. I've benched him for his other hauls this season, and now finally I benched him again for this haul, but seeing as Saka didn't play this game week, I actually got Garnacho coming on and playing for me, so he probably would have been higher in the drafts if I had done this draft right before or right after the game rather than doing it before. But he's still on the squad, and he's still someone you should definitely consider just because of the fixtures. Kind of the same as with Onana. Just terrific fixtures, especially with the double game week 37 coming up later on in the season. The games against Sheffield United and Burnley at home. And you can see him scoring in any game as well. He scored now twice against Chelsea away, which is not really a fixture you would expect people to score that many goals in. Even though Chelsea haven't been the best defensively. But yeah, Garnacho, super good and cheap option. I still think he's the best cheap-ish midfielder to have to basically accommodate the rest of your attack, especially with Salah and Haaland here. It's nice to have cheaper players like Cunha and Garnacho providing the value for a really low amount of cash, basically. So yeah, he makes it in as the number 15th pick in the squad. As you can see, there are 3 names marked in green: Branthwaite, Foden, and Cunha. Those guys are new since last time, and that means 3 players have dropped out since last time as well. So let's talk about those guys before we wrap up this video. Number 9, we have Rodrigo Muniz, who was basically my placeholder striker last time around. I just figured I should give him his due basically. But I think Cunha, now that Cunha is back fully fit, ready to play, I think Cunha is just slightly better for just a slightly more expensive price. I think there are a lot of good players in that price bracket for what it's worth. I think Joao Pedro is going to be super overlooked. He's also a penalty taker who gets a lot of penalties, especially in Europa, or in Europe, I should say, for Brighton, and he could easily get that in the Premier League as well. So I think there's a lot of good, cheap, cut price strikers that are available to you here. But I think Cunha is the best currently, and I think Muniz, despite having good fixtures, he doesn't have any double game week fixtures, and that's sort of going to be the downside to him. But Muniz is still a really good pick, but I think I just prefer Cunha because of the double game week, and just fixtures in general are better for Cunha coming up. Then we have Bukayo Saka at number 12, and he's the one that I'm going to keep for sure in my own team. He was benched now against Luton, finally got his rest, finally got some time to heal up a little bit. So I think that's actually good for Saka going forward. He's been disappointing lately, but we've seen him in the past this season when he's been kind of disappointing for a couple of game weeks. He just completely turned it on and got double-digit hauls, it seemed like, every single game week. So I think he's still a really, really good pick. And I feel kind of bad leaving him out. But at the same time, you have to leave out either Palmer, Foden, Son, Salah, or Garnacho. And all those 5 players are terrific value. And I just can't see, especially if you're free hitting in 34, which is the point of this wildcard draft, I just don't see how you fit in Saka on top of that as well. So yeah, he drops off for that reason. But I think if you are not free hitting in 34, I think he's definitely someone you should have, because Arsenal are really good and Saka is still the penalty taker, still the focal point of that attack. So yeah, he's still really, really good, but he drops out just because I need to fit in Foden as well now, with all the good Foden games coming up as well. So yeah, Saka drops out for that reason. Number 15 was Diogo Dalot. He was sort of just added as a nice guy for Man United because the fixtures, like I mentioned with Garnacho and Onana, I think they're really great fixtures, but at the same time, you don't want to use the one defensive spot on Dalot and potentially leave out a Haaland striker opportunity later on in the season if that's the case. So I think Dalot, for that reason, he's not super good in terms of value either. I mean, we already have Onana, don't really want to double up on Man United defense. And I think Branthwaite is just a better and cheaper alternative than Dalot at this point of the season. So yeah, he drops out as well as the number 15th pick. But that's basically the whole draft. Kind of rushed through it this time because I sort of need to go to bed now. It's close to midnight and I'm going to wake up in about 7 hours. So I still have to edit this and post this. But either way, if you appreciate my work and appreciate seeing these types of videos, then please give me a like on this video. Comment down below if you like this team or if you have any other queries. I can answer most questions you have before the next game week. Also going to post my team section video as well later on today, so stay tuned for that as well, and subscribe if you haven't already to make sure that you get those videos as well and you're able to see my latest thoughts in Premier League. Currently doing pretty well. Actually got a green arrow despite not having Foden and also having Salah as captain. Somehow I got a green arrow because I have Garnacho, I have Ait-Nouri, I have a couple of these players that I've been saying or that I've been mentioning as good picks lately in my videos basically. So yeah, keep track of my videos for the latest FPL tips basically. And that's it for me for today. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye bye.